Part 1. The ship was dying. Captain Valeth knew it the moment another explosion shook the walls. His 3 eyes looked at the screens showing bad news everywhere. The pirates were winning, and his ship had no weapons to fight back. Valeth was a Quilnari, a peaceful species that traveled between stars selling goods and moving people. His ship, the Harmony's Light, carried 200 passengers. There were families with children, old folks going to see relatives, and traders hoping to make money on distant worlds. None of them deserved to die today. Send out a call for help, Valeth told his first officer, Sarath. Send it on every channel we have. Sarath's long fingers moved fast over her controls. Captain, I need to tell you something. There are no military ships close enough to help us. We are too far from the main travel routes. The closest help would take 3 days to reach us. 3 days? Valeth felt his heart sink. They had maybe 1 hour before the pirates broke through the hull. Then who can help us? There is one ship, Sarath said quietly. But Captain, it is a human ship. Valeth paused. Humans. Everyone in the galaxy knew about humans. They came from a planet called Earth, a world so dangerous that most species would die there in hours. The gravity was too strong. The air had too much oxygen. The temperature changed too fast. Wild animals there were monsters that could kill with teeth and claws, yet humans had survived. More than survived. They had thrived. They built cities and machines and eventually spaceships. When they joined the galactic community 15 years ago, other species watched them carefully. Humans were strange. They healed too fast. They moved too quick. They made friends with anything, even animals that should eat them. But they were also the only ones close enough to help. Send the call to the human ship, Valeth decided. We have no choice. The message went out into space, a desperate cry. This is the Harmony's Light. We are under attack by Kraven raiders. Our shields are failing. We have 200 civilians on board. Please anyone help us. 2 hours away, Commander Kyle Harrison was drinking coffee when the call came in. Kyle was a tall man with short dark hair and calm eyes. He had spent 10 years in Earth's Marines before joining the space exploration program. He knew what it meant when someone called for help. Commander, said Lieutenant Sophie Grant, his communications officer, we just picked up a distress call. A transport ship is being attacked by pirates. They have civilians on board, including children. Kyle set down his coffee cup. How far away are they? 2 hours if we push our engines hard, Sophie answered. But sir, there are 4 pirate ships attacking them. We only have light weapons. We are an exploration ship, not a warship. Kyle looked at the star map on his screen. He saw the transport ship's location. He saw the 4 pirate ships surrounding it like wolves around wounded prey. He knew his ship, the Defiant Dawn, was small and not built for fighting. He also knew there were children on that transport ship. Get everyone to battle stations, Kyle ordered. Tell the engine room I want maximum speed. Tell the transport ship that help is coming. His second officer, Commander Melissa Shaw, looked worried. Sir, the regulations say we should call for proper military backup before engaging hostile forces. The regulations were written by people sitting safe on Earth, Kyle said. Those are real people out there, Melissa, families, kids. We are not going to leave them to die while we wait for someone else to save them. Melissa nodded. She understood. Every human on the Defiant Dawn understood. They all came from Earth, a world where survival meant protecting your pack, your tribe, your family. Strangers calling for help became family the moment you heard their voice. The ship's alarm rang through every corridor. Crew members ran to their positions. In the weapons bay, Lieutenant Ben Carter powered up the railguns and missile systems. In the medical section, Dr. Lisa Moore prepared for possible casualties. In the lower deck, Sergeant Ryan Murphy and his 8 Marines checked their armor and weapons. Everyone knew what was coming. Everyone was ready. Kyle opened a channel to the transport ship. Harmony's Light. This is Commander Kyle Harrison of the Earth ship Defiant Dawn. We received your call. We are on our way. Can you hold out for 2 more hours? There was a pause. Then a voice came back speaking Galactic Common with a strange accent that the translator struggled with. Earth, you are humans? Yes, Captain. What is your status? Our shields are at 17%, Valeth replied. We have no weapons. The pirates are preparing to break into our ship. Commander, I appreciate your help, but we scanned your ship. You are small. The Kraven have 4 attack ships. Each one is bigger than yours. They will destroy you. Kyle smiled, though the alien captain could not see it. Captain, I need you to trust me. Take all your power. and put it into your rear shields and engines. When I tell you to run, you burn those engines as hard as you can. But that will leave our engines exposed. One hit and we will be dead in space. Trust me, Captain. The pirates will be too busy to shoot at you. Harrison out. Kyle turned to his pilot, Lieutenant Jake Hayes. Jake, I need you to fly like you are back in atmosphere. Fast and mean, Jake grinned. I can do that, sir. Ben, I want weapons ready the second we drop out of faster-than-light travel. Target their engines first. I want them disabled, not destroyed. We might need prisoners to answer questions. Understood, sir, Ben replied. Kyle sat back in his command chair and took a breath. He knew what others in the galaxy thought about humans. They thought Earth people were dangerous because they came from a death world. They thought humans were unpredictable and violent. They were right, Kyle thought. But they did not understand why. Humans were not violent for fun. They were violent when protecting others. They were dangerous to those who hurt the weak. The Defiant Dawn raced through space, pushing its engines beyond normal limits. In 2 hours, they would reach the battle. In 2 hours, the galaxy would learn something important about humans. When someone called for help, Deathworlders answered. And they did not come to talk. They came to win. Part 2, the Harmony's light was shaking apart piece by piece. Captain Velith watched another section of his shields turn red on the display. The Kraven pirates were not rushing. They were taking their time, slowly breaking down every defense the transport ship had. Captain, the human said 90 minutes. Sarath reminded him. It has been 85 minutes. Where are they? Velith did not answer. He was watching his shields drop to 12%, then 11, then 10. His passengers were terrified. He could hear crying children over the internal communications. Parents were holding their little ones, whispering that everything would be okay. But Velith was not sure anything would be okay. The Kraven were a species of hunters. They stood over 2 meters tall with scales like armor and teeth like knives. They raided weak ships, stealing cargo and sometimes taking prisoners to sell as slaves. They feared no one because most species ran from them. Captain, the lead Kraven ship is hailing us, Sarath said. They want us to surrender. Tell them no, Velith said quietly. If they surrendered, the Kraven would take everything. The cargo, the passengers, everything. At least fighting gave them a small chance. Then something happened that changed everything. Space itself seemed to tear open 3,000 kilometers away. The Defiant Dawn dropped out of faster-than-light travel with perfect precision. One moment there was nothing. The next moment there was a human ship, weapons already hot, moving fast. Multiple contacts, one of the Kraven captains shouted on his bridge. Unknown ship just appeared. On the Defiant Dawn, Kyle watched the tactical display. Ben, fire. The human ship's railguns spoke first. They were weapons designed to destroy asteroids, firing pieces of metal at incredible speed. 3 rounds hit the lead Kraven ship before its captain even knew what was happening. The shots went straight through the pirate's engine section. The Kraven ship exploded. Not a small explosion, a big one. The fusion reactor that powered the ship went critical, turning the raider into a brief new sun. When the light faded, there was only debris. Harmony's light, run now, Kyle transmitted. Velith did not hesitate. He ordered his engines to full power. The transport ship lurched forward, accelerating away from the battle as fast as its damaged systems could manage. The 3 remaining Kraven ships turned to face this new enemy. Their captains were confused but not afraid. They were warriors. They had fought many battles. What was one small human ship? Surround it, the Kraven commander Krathix ordered. Attack from 3 sides. Destroy it quickly. The pirate ship split up, trying to trap the Defiant Dawn in crossfire. It was a good tactic that had worked many times before, but they had never fought humans before. Lieutenant Jake Hayes, the Defiant Dawn's pilot, watched the pirates move. Jake had learned to fly in Earth's atmosphere, dodging through clouds and mountains at high speed. In space, with nothing to hit and less resistance, he was even better. Evasive pattern Delta, Kyle ordered calmly. The human ship danced. There was no other word for it. The Defiant Dawn twisted and turned, rolled and spun, moving in ways that seemed impossible. Plasma bolts from the Kraven ships missed by meters. Kinetic rounds passed through empty space where the human ship had been a second before. How are they doing that? Krathix demanded. No ship can move like that. What Krathix did not understand was that human ships were built stronger, because Earth's gravity was stronger. Human pilots trained harder because Earth's atmosphere was harsher. And human reflexes were faster because Earth's predators had been deadly. Jake was not just avoiding the pirates. He was making them angry, making them careless. He flew close to one ship, drawing its fire, then suddenly accelerated away. The pirate fired, missed, and nearly hit one of his own ships. "They are playing with us," one of the Kraven captains shouted. "Then stop playing," Krathix snarled back. "All ships concentrate fire on that human vessel now." The 3 pirate ships turned all their weapons on the defiant Dawn. For a moment, space filled with so much fire that it seemed impossible anything could survive. But the human ship did survive. Its shields flared and held. And while the pirates focused on killing the defiant Dawn, they stopped paying attention to their first victim. The ship they had damaged earlier, the one that had exploded, was actually still mostly intact. Its engine was destroyed, yes, but the hull was whole, and Kyle had a plan for it. "Murphy, are you ready?" Kyle asked. "Sir, we are sealed up and ready to go." Sergeant Ryan Murphy answered from the airlock. 8 Marines stood with him, wearing full combat armor and carrying enough weapons to fight a small war. "You have 60 seconds, Kyle said. "Make them count." The defiant Dawn suddenly accelerated straight toward the disabled Kraven ship. The other pirates were confused. Why would the humans fly toward a dead ship? They got their answer when 8 armored figures launched from the human ship's airlock. The Marines flew across the gap using small jets built into their armor. In 30 seconds, they reached the pirate ship's hull. "Contact," Murphy reported. "Beginning breach." Cutting torches blazed bright in the darkness of space. The Marines burned through the hull plating in seconds. Modern earth-cutting tools could slice through starship armor like paper. "They are boarding Vrax's ship." Krathix could not believe what he was seeing. "All vessels, target that human ship now." But targeting the defiant Dawn meant not targeting each other. And Jake flew the ship so close to the damaged raider that any shot risked hitting the Kraven vessel. Inside the dead pirate ship, Murphy and his Marines moved fast. The internal corridor was dark. Emergency lights cast red shadows. Somewhere ahead, they could hear the Kraven crew shouting in their own language. "Contact front," said Corporal Nina Brooks. 3 Kraven warriors came around a corner, roaring and charging with their claws extended. Nina's rifle barked 3 times. 3 shots. 3 kills. "The Kraven went down hard. Keep moving," Murphy ordered. "We need that bridge in 4 minutes." The Marines advanced through the ship like a machine. They had trained for this. Close quarters combat. Tight corridors. Multiple enemies. The Kraven were bigger and stronger, but the humans were faster and smarter. 5 more Kraven tried to ambush them from a side passage. The Marines already knew they were there. Their helmet sensors showed heat signatures through the walls. Flashbang grenades went into the passage first. The Kraven warriors screamed as light and sound overwhelmed their senses. The Marines moved through them without stopping. "Bridge ahead," Nina reported. "Sealed door." "Cole, breach it," Murphy ordered. Private Cole Bennett placed a small charge on the door. Everyone stepped back. The charge exploded, blowing the door inward. The Marines rushed through the smoke. The Kraven captain and his crew reached for their weapons. They were too slow. In 3 seconds, it was over. The Marines had control of the bridge, and 12 Kraven warriors were on the floor, either dead or unconscious. "Bridge secured," Murphy reported. "We have prisoners in control of the ship's systems." Kyle's voice came through clearly. "Can you get their weapons online?" "Give us 5 minutes, sir." While Murphy's team worked, Kyle watched the 3 remaining pirates. They were getting frustrated. They had lost one ship to a surprise attack. They could not hit the fast-moving human vessel. And now humans had taken another one of their ships. "Sir, the pirates are preparing to jump away," Ben reported. "I think they are going to run." "Not yet," Kyle said. "Sophie, open a channel to all Kraven ships. Use the command codes from the captured vessel." Sophie's fingers danced over her controls. "Channel open, sir." Kyle spoke clearly, and Sophie's system translated his words into the Kraven language. "This is Commander Kyle Harrison of Earth. You are attacking civilians in violation of galactic law. Surrender now or we will show you what happens when humans get angry." Krathix's voice came back, full of rage and disbelief. "You are bluffing. That ship is dead. You cannot use it." The disabled Kraven ship's weapons suddenly came online, powered by Murphy's team rerouting every bit of energy they could find. The guns turned and fired at point-blank range into the nearest pirate ship. The shots hit perfectly, guided by Marines who knew exactly where to aim. The pirates' shields collapsed. The Defiant Dawn's railguns followed up immediately, slamming rounds into the exposed ship. Engines died. Power failed, 2 raiders left, and both of them were realizing they had made a terrible mistake. "This is your last chance," Kyle said calmly. "Surrender or fight. But know this, more human ships are on the way. You can end this now, or you can explain to your families why you died fighting for stolen cargo." Krathix looked at his tactical display. Half his attack group was gone. The human ship was still untouched. And humans he had heard never gave up. "All ships retreat," Krathix finally ordered. "Jump to safety. Now." The 2 remaining Kraven ships turned and ran. They accelerated to jump speed and vanished into faster-than-light travel. On the Defiant Dawn, the crew cheered. They had won. 30 humans against 4 pirate ships, and they had won. Kyle did not cheer. He simply nodded. "Murphy, secure those prisoners and come home. Ben, start scanning that captured ship. Let us see what evidence we can find. Sophie, send a message to the Harmony's Light. Tell them they are safe now." As the crew worked, Kyle thought about what had just happened. They had come to help strangers, and ended up in a fight against superior numbers. Part 3. 2 days after the battle, Captain Veleth stood before the Galactic Council. The council chamber was enormous, with seats for representatives from 300 different species. Above him, cameras recorded everything. His testimony was being broadcast to thousands of worlds across the galaxy. Veleth was nervous. He was just a cargo ship captain. He was not used to speaking in front of so many important people, but he had a story to tell, and the galaxy needed to hear it. "Captain Veleth," said Council Speaker Telmara, a dignified alien with silver scales and wise eyes. "Please describe what happened when the Kraven attacked your ship." Veleth took a breath. "We were traveling through Sector 7 carrying 200 passengers, families, children. The Kraven appeared suddenly and began attacking. We had no weapons. Our shields were failing. I sent out a distress call, but the nearest council patrol was 4 days away." "Who responded to your call?" Telmara asked, though everyone already knew the answer. "The human ship Defiant Dawn," Veleth said. "Commander Kyle Harrison brought his vessel into the battle, even though he was outnumbered 4-1. His ship was an exploration vessel, not a warship. He should have called for backup and kept his distance. Instead, he came straight at the pirates and fought them. And what happened next?" Veleth's 3 eyes blinked slowly as he remembered. "The humans destroyed 1 pirate ship in the first attack. Then they moved in ways I have never seen a ship move. Their pilot flew like he was dancing. The Kraven could not hit them. Then human soldiers boarded one of the damaged pirate ships and captured it in less than 10 minutes. A representative from the Vrickus species, an insect-like being, clicked its mandibles together. "Captain, you have traveled these space lanes for 40 years. You have seen many military actions. What was unusual about the human response?" Veleth chose his words carefully. "Everything was unusual. Their ship moved too fast. Their weapons were too accurate. Their soldiers fought like they had done it 1,000 times before. But what really surprised me was why they came. When I asked Commander Harrison why he risked his ship and crew, he said it was because there were families on my vessel. That was his only reason. He risked everything because there were children who needed help." The council chamber erupted in conversation. Dozens of species began talking at once. The idea of risking military assets for unaffiliated civilians was unusual. Doing it against superior odds was almost unheard of. Telmara raised her hand for silence. "Captain Veleth, what is your personal opinion of the humans now?" Veleth looked directly at the camera. "My daughter was on that ship. She was 3 years old. She's 4 now, and she's alive because humans heard us call for help. The humans asked for nothing in return. They took no payment. They claimed no salvage rights to the captured ships. They just helped us because it was the right thing to do. If that is what humans are like, then I hope more of them come to space." Far away on Earth, Admiral Patricia Cole watched the broadcast from her office. She was a gray-haired woman who had spent 40 years in Earth's Navy before becoming the liaison to the Galactic Council. She knew this testimony would change everything for humanity. Her assistant, Lieutenant Danny Ortega, entered with a tablet computer. "Admiral, we are getting communication requests from 47 different species. They all want information about our military training and capabilities." Patricia smiled slightly. "What exactly do they want to know?" "They want to know if all human military personnel are trained like Commander Harrison's crew," Danny said. They want to know if this was a special forces unit or standard personnel. Patricia thought about Kyle Harrison. He had been a good Marine, yes, but he was not superhuman. He was just a well-trained soldier who cared about doing the right thing. His crew were the same. Former military personnel who wanted to explore space but still remembered their training. Tell them that Commander Harrison and his crew represent typical human military veterans, Patricia said. They are good at what they do, but they are not exceptional by our standards. Danny's eyes went wide. Ma'am, should I really say that? It might scare them. It is the truth, Danny. The galaxy is going to learn about us eventually. Better they learn now that humans take protecting others seriously. On the council floor, Speaker Telmara was reading from a report. The council has examined the captured Kraven vessel and interrogated the prisoners. We have evidence that this raiding group was responsible for 43 attacks over 6 years. They killed thousands of beings and stole millions in cargo. The humans ended their operation in one engagement. Another representative asked, "What do the humans want in exchange for their service?" This was the question everyone wanted answered. Humanity had done something remarkable. Surely they wanted payment. Territory, special trade rights. Something. Ambassador Lisa Grant stood to address the council. She was a calm woman with sharp eyes and a diplomatic smile. The human government requests nothing for what Commander Harrison did. He and his crew did what any decent beings would do when hearing someone call for help. However, since the council has asked, we would like to propose something. What do you propose? Telmara asked. Earth would like to establish a rapid response network in under-patrolled sectors of space, Lisa explained. We have noticed that council space is well protected near the core worlds, but the frontier regions have significant gaps in coverage. Ships can be attacked and destroyed before help arrives. We would like to station human vessels in these areas, operating under council authority to respond to emergencies. The council erupted in debate again. Some species thought it was a good idea. Humans were clearly good at responding to threats. Others worried about giving the Deathworlders too much freedom to operate in space. What if the humans became aggressive? What if they used their military power to take territory? The debate went on for hours. Finally, a compromise was reached. Earth would be allowed to station up to 20 vessels in designated frontier regions. These ships would operate under council oversight. Every 3 months, the council would review their activities. If the humans abused their authority, the agreement would end. Lisa accepted the terms. It was less than she had hoped for, but more than she had expected. 20 ships could make a real difference in protecting civilian vessels. After the session ended, Patricia received a call from Earth's president. Admiral Cole, this response fleet idea, can we actually do it? Do we have enough ships and trained crews? Patricia looked at the personnel files on her desk. Mr. President, we have hundreds of exploration vessels in space right now. Many of them are crewed by military veterans who would volunteer for this duty in a heartbeat. We can have 20 ships ready in a month. Do it, the president said, but make sure the crews understand. They are not out there to conquer. They are out there to help. We need people like Kyle Harrison, good people who will do the right thing even when it is hard. I understand, sir. Patricia began making calls. She contacted ship captains across human space. She explained the mission: patrol the frontier regions, respond to distress calls, protect civilians. It was dangerous work with no glory and little pay. Every single captain she called volunteered immediately. Meanwhile, Kyle Harrison was having a quiet meal with his crew in the Defiant Dawn's mess hall. They were docked at a council station, resupplying and making repairs. The battle damage was minor, but regulations required a full inspection. Commander, Sophie said between bites of food, have you seen the news broadcasts? We are famous. There are species calling us heroes. Kyle shook his head. We are not heroes. We just did our job. Sir, most species would not have engaged those pirates, Ben said. The odds were against us. We should have waited for backup. And let those families die while we waited? Kyle looked at his crew. Would any of you have done that? Everyone shook their heads. No one could have lived with themselves if they had abandoned the Harmony's light. That is why we are not heroes, Kyle said. Heroes do extraordinary things. We just did what any decent person would do. We helped someone who needed help. A priority transmission came through from Admiral Cole. Her face appeared on the wall screen. Commander Harrison, I have news. The Galactic Council has approved a proposal for Earth to establish rapid response stations throughout frontier space. We are forming the Human Response Fleet. 20 ships dedicated to protecting civilians and responding to emergencies. Kyle sat up straighter. That sounds like a good idea, Admiral. I am glad you think so, Patricia said with a slight smile, because I want you to lead it. The Defiant Dawn will be the flagship. You will have authority to coordinate with other response vessels and establish patrol patterns. Are you interested? Kyle looked at his crew. They were all nodding, showing their support. Admiral, with respect, we would rather be out here doing the actual work rather than coordinating from an office. That is what I hoped you would say, Patricia replied. The position comes with a promotion to captain and command authority over the frontier sectors, but you will still be flying patrol and responding to calls. Think of it as being the galaxy's emergency services. When someone needs help, you go. We can do that, ma'am, Kyle said. After the transmission ended, Sophie raised her coffee cup. To the human response fleet, may we always be... Part 4-6 months had passed since the Harmony's Light incident. The human response fleet now had 12 vessels patrolling the frontier regions of space. Each ship was crewed by volunteers, veterans who wanted to make a difference. They responded to pirate attacks, rescued stranded vessels, and protected civilian convoys. Stories about the human responders spread across the galaxy. There was the time the vessel Steadfast Guardian saved a mining colony from raiders. There was the medical ship that the vessel Morning Star protected through a dangerous nebula. There were dozens of small incidents where humans showed up, helped, and asked for nothing in return. But it was one particular incident that would make humans legendary. Captain Kyle Harrison brought the Defiant Dawn out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Rin space. The distress call had been urgent and unclear. A science vessel called Quantum Seeker was in trouble. The details were confused, but Kyle knew enough. Civilians needed help. What he saw when he arrived made his blood run cold. The Quantum Seeker was a small research ship carrying scientists from 7 different species, 42 beings who studied stars and planets who had no weapons and no combat training. They were caught between 2 fleets of warships, each fleet belonging to a different faction of the Korthak species. The Korthaks were fighting a civil war. 2 groups both claimed to rule their species, and both were willing to kill to prove it. The science vessel had accidentally entered their territory during a military operation. Now each side accused the scientists of spying for the other. Sir, I count 36 warships, Ben reported from Tactical. His voice was tight. Each side has cruisers and destroyers. The science vessel's shields are failing. They have maybe 10 minutes. Kyle studied the tactical display. 36 warships. His ship was designed for exploration and light combat. The other human response fleet vessels were hours away. Council peacekeepers were even farther. It was just the Defiant Dawn against 2 entire fleets. Sir, said Commander Melissa Shaw quietly, we cannot win this fight. We should call for backup. Those scientists do not have time for backup, Kyle replied. He thought for a moment, then made his decision. Sophie, open a channel to both Korthak's commanders. Tell them I am declaring the Quantum Seeker under human protection. Tell them any further attacks will be considered an act of war against Earth. Melissa turned in her chair. Sir, we do not have the authority to declare war. I know, Kyle said. But they do not know that. The message went out. For several long seconds, nothing happened. Then both Korthak's commanders appeared on split screens. They were large reptilian beings with cold eyes and sharp teeth. Human, you have no authority here, the first commander said. This is Korthak space. Withdraw or be destroyed. That science vessel carries stolen intelligence, the second commander added. We will board it and search. Your interference is an act of war. Kyle leaned back in his chair, forcing himself to look calm. Gentlemen, let me explain something. Those scientists are civilians studying stellar phenomena. They are not spies. But here is what they are. They called for help and I answered. Now you have about 5 seconds to stop targeting that vessel before I show you why making humans angry is a bad idea. You are one small ship, the first commander laughed. We have 2 fleets. Your threats mean nothing. I am one small ship crewed by humans, Kyle said quietly. Do you know what that means? It means everyone on my vessel comes from a death world, a planet where the gravity crushes most species, where the air is poison to many aliens, where we evolved as hunters who ran our prey to death over days and weeks. We climbed to the top of our food chain by being tougher, meaner, and more stubborn than everything that wanted to kill us. He let that sink in for a moment. So when I tell you that attacking those scientists is a bad idea, I am not threatening you. I am giving you free advice on how to stay alive. The second commander's laugh was harsh. Your reputation is based on fighting pirates and raiders. We are a real military. Your words mean nothing. Kyle pressed a button. Every weapon on the Defiant Dawn came online. The targeting systems locked onto specific points across both fleets, bridges, engine cores, weapon systems. The computers identified 48 critical targets in seconds. I have just locked weapons on 36 of your vessels, Kyle said calmly. My tactical officer has firing solutions on your command centers, your engines, and your weapons. The other 11 ships of the human response fleet will arrive in 40 minutes. And the Earth cruiser Indomitable with her full battle group just jumped into the system. They are 3 hours away. It was partly a lie. The Indomitable was not actually coming. But Kyle needed the Korthax to believe it might be. You would not start a war over one science vessel, the first commander said, but his voice had lost its confidence. We absolutely would, Kyle replied. That is what you do not understand about humans. We are not like species that calculate acceptable losses. We are pack hunters. We defend every member of the pack. Those scientists are under human protection now. That makes them family, and humans go to war for family. On Earth, Admiral Patricia Cole watched the transmission with her heart in her throat. Kyle had just committed humanity to a potential war with a species that had hundreds of ships. It was insane. It was reckless. It was also exactly what she would have done. She opened a channel to Admiral Peter Grant, who commanded Earth's Third Fleet. Peter, how fast can we get ships to the Vryn border? Peter studied his displays. 48 hours at maximum speed. Patricia, we cannot actually win a war against the Korthax. They outnumber us significantly. We will not have to win, Patricia said. We just need them to think we might try. Get moving, send every ship we can spare, and transmit orders to all human response fleet vessels. Tell them to converge on Kyle's position. Back at the standoff, the two Korthax commanders were talking on a private channel. Kyle waited patiently, sipping water while his crew held their positions. Everyone on the Defiant Dawn was tense but ready. If this went bad, they would fight. They would probably die, but they would fight. Finally, the first commander's face reappeared on screen. Human, we will allow the science vessel to leave, but only if you escort them out of Korthax space immediately. And we will file a formal complaint with the Galactic Council, the second commander added. Kyle nodded. That is acceptable. Quantum Seeker, this is Captain Harrison. Form up behind us and prepare to leave the system. The science vessel, its crew having watched the confrontation in amazed silence, quickly moved to follow the human ship. As the two vessels began their withdrawal, Kyle kept his weapons locked on the Korthax fleets. He did not relax until they were well out of weapons range. Once they jumped to safety, Kyle finally allowed himself to breathe. Stand down from battle stations. Sophie, send a full report to Admiral Cole. When Patricia's face appeared on screen moments later, she looked relieved and angry at the same time. Captain Harrison, you just bluffed 2 entire fleets into backing down. The Quantum Seeker's crew is sending thanks from all over the galaxy. You also scared several council members who think humans are too unpredictable. Did I start a war, ma'am? No, Patricia said, and she smiled slightly. The Galactic Council just issued a statement praising your restraint. They said showing willingness to defend civilians against military aggression was admirable. You gave Earth quite a reputation, Kyle. The galaxy now knows that humans do not back down when protecting others. Ma'am, I need to know. If they had called my bluff, if they had attacked, would Earth have backed us up? Patricia looked him straight in the eye. Kyle, the moment you declared those scientists under human protection, every ship we had started moving toward your position. We would have been there in 2 days. And yes, we would have fought. Because you were right. Those scientists became family the moment you said they were, and humans protect family. Kyle felt something release in his chest. He had gambled with his crew's lives, but he had not been alone. Earth would have come. Humanity would have fought. Thank you, ma'am, he said quietly. Over the following weeks, news of the incident spread. The Quantum Seeker's crew told their story to anyone who would listen. They described how one human captain had faced down 2 fleets to protect strangers, how he had been willing to start a war rather than abandon civilians. Other species began to understand something important. Humans were dangerous, yes. They came from a death world and had evolved as predators. But their danger was not random. It was focused. If you needed help, Humans were the best friends possible. If you threatened innocence, humans were the worst enemies imaginable. The galaxy learned to call out to humans when trouble came, and the humans every time responded with the same message: help is on the way. Part 5. 1 year after the Harmony's Light incident, everything had changed. The human response fleet now consisted of 20 vessels, just as the Galactic Council had authorized. They patrolled the frontier regions, responded to distress calls, and protected civilian ships from pirates and raiders. But it was not just about fighting. Human ships helped repair damaged vessels. They delivered medical supplies to remote colonies. They escorted refugee convoys through dangerous space. They did whatever was needed to keep people safe. The reputation of Earth's Deathworlders grew with each mission. Stories spread across the galaxy. Parents told their children about the humans who always came when someone called for help. Traders felt safer knowing human patrol ships were nearby. Even pirates and raiders learned to avoid areas where humans operated. Captain Kyle Harrison sat in his quarters on the Defiant Dawn, reading reports from other response fleet vessels. Every report was the same pattern. Distress call received, humans responded, situation resolved. His crews were doing good work. Real work that saved real lives. A message came through from Earth. Admiral Patricia Cole wanted to speak with him. Kyle accepted the call and Patricia's face appeared on his screen. "Kyle, I have news," she said. "The Galactic Council wants to formalize the Human Response Fleet as an official peacekeeping force. They want to expand the program and give you more authority. There will be a ceremony on the Council homeworld in 2 weeks." A ceremony? Kyle was not comfortable with ceremonies. He preferred action to speeches. "You are going to receive the Council's highest honor for protecting civilians," Patricia explained. "Every member of your crew will receive recognition, and you are going to address the entire Galactic Council about the Response Fleet's mission." Kyle thought about refusing. He was a soldier, not a politician. But he understood that sometimes words were as important as actions. "I will be there, Admiral." 2 weeks later, Kyle stood before the Galactic Council wearing his dress uniform. The chamber was filled with representatives from hundreds of species. Cameras broadcast the ceremony across thousands of worlds. Kyle felt uncomfortable with all the attention, but he understood why it mattered. Council Speaker Telmara spoke first. "Captain Kyle Harrison, in the past year, you and the Human Response Fleet have responded to over 200 distress calls. You have saved thousands of lives. You have fought pirates, rescued stranded vessels, and protected the weak from those who would harm them. You have done this asking for nothing in return." She held up a medal made of crystallized starlight, a rare material that could only be created in the heart of certain stars. "On behalf of 300 species, I present you with the Star of Unity, our highest honor for protecting galactic peace." Kyle accepted the medal with a simple nod. He knew the real heroes were his crew and all the other response fleet personnel who did the work every day. "Captain Harrison," Telmara said, "would you speak to us about the Human Response Fleet and its mission?" Kyle stepped to the podium and looked at the assembled representatives. He had prepared a speech, but standing there, he decided to just speak from his heart. "When I was young," he began, "my father told me that strength without compassion is just bullying. He said being strong means using your power to protect those who cannot protect themselves. Earth is a harsh world. We evolved in a difficult environment. But that difficulty taught us something important. Survival means protecting each other." He paused, gathering his thoughts. "Other species look at humans and see danger. They see Deathworlders from a hostile planet. They are not wrong. Humans are dangerous. But we choose when and how to be dangerous. We are dangerous to pirates who attack civilians. We are dangerous to raiders who steal from the weak. We are dangerous to anyone who threatens innocent lives." Kyle looked directly at the cameras. "But to those who need help, humans are friends. We will fly through dangerous space to answer your call. We will fight overwhelming odds to protect you. We will risk everything because protecting others is what we do. It is who we are." The Human Response Fleet is not about conquest or territory. It is not about making Earth powerful. It is about making space safer for everyone. When you call for help, we will come. Every time. Without fail. That is our promise to the galaxy. The council chamber was silent when he finished. Then slowly, representatives from dozens of species began to stand. The applause started small but grew until the entire chamber was on their feet, showing their approval and respect. Kyle stepped back from the podium, feeling embarrassed by the attention. He was just doing his job, but he understood that sometimes symbols mattered. The galaxy needed to know that someone would answer when they called. After the ceremony, many representatives approached Kyle to thank him personally. One of them was Captain Velith, the Quilnari whose transport ship had been saved a year ago. "Captain Harrison," Velith said warmly, "I wanted to thank you again. My family is safe because of you. My daughter, the one I told you about, she wants to meet you." A small Quilnari child peeked out from behind her father. She had 3 large eyes that stared at Kyle with wonder and a little fear. Kyle knelt down to be at her eye level. "Hello, your father tells me you are very brave." The girl's voice was soft. "Are you really from a death world? Is Earth scary?" Kyle smiled. "Earth can be scary sometimes, but it is also beautiful. We have oceans and mountains and forests. We have animals and plants of every color. Yes, some things there are dangerous, but danger is not bad if you use it to protect others. Will you teach me to be brave like humans?" the girl asked. "You are already brave," Kyle said gently. "Bravery is not about being from a death world or being strong. Bravery is about choosing to help others even when you are scared. Your father showed bravery when he sent that distress call. He asked for help when he needed it. That takes courage, too." The girl considered this seriously, then nodded. Velith put his hand on his daughter's shoulder, his eyes showing gratitude he could not put into words. Later that evening, Kyle returned to the Defiant Dawn. His crew had watched the ceremony and were celebrating in the mess hall. They raised their glasses when he entered. "To the captain," Sophie said, "the man who made humans the galaxy's heroes." "We are not heroes," Kyle said, but he was smiling. "We are just people doing our jobs." "Sir, with respect," Ben said. "We are heroes to the families we have saved. We are heroes to the colonies we have protected. Maybe we should accept that." Kyle thought about the little Quilnari girl who wanted to be brave like humans. He thought about all the distress calls they had answered. He thought about the crews of the other response fleet vessels who were out there right now, keeping people safe. "Maybe you are right," he admitted. "But if we are heroes, we have to remember what that means. It means people trust us. It means we cannot fail them. Every time someone calls for help, we have to answer, no matter how dangerous, no matter the odds." "That is what we signed up for, sir," Sophie said quietly. The crew nodded in agreement. They were volunteers, every one of them. They could have stayed safe on Earth or taken easier jobs. But they chose to be here in dangerous space, protecting strangers. Over the next few months, the human response fleet continued its work. They rescued a mining colony whose life support had failed. They protected a diplomatic convoy traveling through contested space. They stopped pirates from raiding a farming settlement on a remote world. Each incident was different, but the pattern was the same. Someone called for help. Humans responded. Lives were saved. Other species began to trust Earth more. Trade increased. Diplomatic relations improved. The Galactic Council invited human representatives to more important meetings. Earth was becoming a respected member of the galactic community, not despite being Deathworlders, but because they used their strength to protect others. New volunteers continued to join the response fleet. Young people who wanted to make a difference. Veterans who missed the sense of purpose. Scientists who wanted to explore but also help. The fleet grew slowly but steadily. Kyle received regular reports from Admiral Patricia. Earth was proud of what the response fleet had accomplished. The government was considering expanding the program even further. Maybe someday there would be 50 ships, maybe 100. But for now, 20 ships were doing important work. They could not be everywhere. They could not save everyone. But they tried. Every single day they tried. Kyle stood on the bridge of the Defiant Dawn looking at the stars. His crew was at their stations ready for whatever came next. Somewhere out there, someone might need help, and when they called, Earth's Deathworlders would respond, because that was who humans were. Not conquerors, not warriors seeking glory, just people who believed that strength meant protecting those who could not protect themselves. The galaxy had feared humans at first. Now they knew the truth. Humans were dangerous, yes, but they were dangerous to the right people. To bullies and pirates and anyone who hurt the innocent. To everyone else, humans were friends, protectors, the ones who came when you called, and across 1,000 worlds. Beings from hundreds of species shared the same comforting thought when danger threatened. The humans will come. They always come, In the darkness of space, the Defiant Dawn continued its patrol. Ready, watching, waiting for the next call, because no matter how far away, no. Part 6. 3 years had passed since Kyle Harrison first answered the Harmony's Light's distress call. The human response fleet had grown to 48 vessels, more than double the original authorization. The Galactic Council kept approving expansions because the program worked. Pirate attacks in patrolled sectors had dropped by 70%. Civilian casualties from raids were down even more. But success brought new challenges. Other species wanted to join the response fleet. Some wanted to learn from humans. Others wanted to prove their own worth. The Council debated whether to allow non-humans to serve on the ships. Kyle, now promoted to Commodore, commanded not just the Defiant Dawn, but coordinated the entire fleet's operations. He sat in a conference room on the Council homeworld, surrounded by representatives from a dozen species who wanted their people to join the fleet. "Commodore Harrison," said Ambassador Vrelk, a Therian with blue skin and 4 arms. "My people are warriors. We have strong traditions of honor and protecting the weak. We wish to serve alongside humans in the response fleet." Kyle considered carefully. The Therians were indeed strong fighters with a proud history. But the response fleet was not just about fighting. "Ambassador, tell me why your people want to join." Vrelk seemed surprised by the question. "To prove our worth. To show we are as brave as humans." "That is the wrong reason," Kyle said gently. "The response fleet is not about proving anything. It is about protecting others. When a distress call comes in the middle of the night and you are exhausted, will your people still respond? When the odds are bad and the danger is real, will they go anyway? Not for glory, not for honor, but just because someone needs help?" The room was quiet. Vrelk thought for a long moment. "Commodore, I understand now. You are asking if we care more about being heroes or about helping people." "Exactly," Kyle said. "Heroes get recognition. Response fleet members get the satisfaction of knowing someone is alive because they answered a call." Another representative, a Quilnari named Sereth, who had been first officer on the Harmony's Light, spoke up. "Commodore, my people are not warriors. We are traders and travelers, but we know what it means to need help desperately. I want my people to have the chance to be the ones who provide that help to others." Kyle looked at her. "Why?" "Because Captain Veleth tells his story to everyone who will listen," Sereth said. "About how humans came when no one else could. About how you risked everything for strangers. Young Quilnari hear that story and want to be like you, not human, but like you in spirit, willing to help no matter the cost." Kyle felt something shift in his understanding. He had been thinking of the response fleet as a human organization. But maybe it was bigger than that. Maybe the idea of protecting others could unite different species. "Let me think about this," Kyle said. "I need to discuss it with my fleet commanders and with Earth." After the meeting, Kyle spoke with Admiral Patricia Cole over secure communications. "Admiral, I think we should allow other species to join the response fleet, not as separate units. Integrated crews, humans and aliens working together." Patricia was quiet for a moment. "Kyle, that is a big change. Are you sure? I watched a Quilnari woman talk about wanting her people to help others the way we helped them," Kyle explained. "She did not want glory. She wanted to make a difference. That is exactly the attitude we need. If other species have people with that same drive, why should we refuse them?" "There will be problems," Patricia warned. "Different species have different needs, different training, different ways of thinking. We will work through them," Kyle said. "Admiral, the response fleet started because Earth wanted to help. But helping others is not just a human thing. It is a universal thing. If we can teach other species our methods while learning from them, we all become stronger." Patricia smiled. "You have learned diplomacy, Kyle. When did that happen?" "When I realized that protecting people means more than just fighting," he replied. "The Council approved the integration program with some conditions. New recruits from other species would train alongside humans. They would learn human tactics and methods, but they would also teach humans about their own cultures and capabilities. The goal was not to make everyone act like humans, but to create teams that combined the best of each species." The first mixed crew was assigned to a new vessel called Unity's Promise. The captain was Commander Nina Brooks, the Marine who had served with Murphy on that first boarding action 3 years ago. Her crew consisted of 12 humans, 8 Quilnari, 5 Therians, and 3 members of other species. The first few weeks were difficult. The Kilnari moved slower than humans but had better long-term endurance. The Therians were stronger but needed more food. Everyone had to adjust to different sleeping schedules and environmental needs. But they made it work because they shared the same goal: help those who needed it. Their first real test came 2 months into their patrol. A distress call from a passenger liner that had suffered an engine failure. The ship was drifting toward a star's gravity well with 300 passengers on board. Nina brought Unity's promise in fast. "Engineering, can we tow them out?" "Negative, Captain," replied the chief engineer, a Quilnari named Telvik. "That ship is too massive. We would need at least 3 vessels working together." "The nearest help is 4 hours away," Nina said. "Those passengers have 2 hours before they fall into the star." "Options?" A Therian tactical officer named Korvac spoke up. "Captain, we could board their ship and repair their engines from inside. My people are strong enough to move their damaged reactor components. I can fly our ship close enough to transfer a boarding party," added the pilot, a human named Chris Porter. "It will be dangerous but possible." Nina made the decision in seconds. "Do it, boarding party, suit up." "Korvax, you lead the repair team. Take whoever you need." What followed was a tense 90 minutes of work. The boarding party, a mix of humans and Therians, worked in the disabled ship's engine room. The heat was intense. The radiation levels were dangerous. But they worked together, combining human technical knowledge with Therian physical strength. They got the engines online with 20 minutes to spare. The passenger liner pulled away from the star's gravity, and all 300 passengers survived. Back on Unity's promise, Nina watched her crew celebrate together. Humans and aliens hugging, laughing, relieved that everyone was safe. This was what Kyle had envisioned. Not humans doing everything, but everyone doing what they were best at. Working together. News of the mixed crew's success spread quickly. More species applied to join the response fleet. The program continued to grow, adding new ships and new crews that represented dozens of different species. But not everyone was happy about these changes. Some humans felt the fleet was becoming too diluted, that it was losing what made it special. Some aliens resented having to learn human methods and follow human leadership. There was an incident where a response fleet vessel with a mixed crew encountered pirates. The human crew members wanted to engage immediately. The alien crew members wanted to negotiate first. The delay allowed the pirates to damage a civilian ship before the response vessel finally attacked. Kyle called a meeting of all fleet commanders to address the tensions. They gathered on the Defiant Dawn, humans and aliens filling the conference room. "We have a problem," Kyle said bluntly. "Some of you think humans should lead because we started this fleet. Others think every species should have equal say in decisions. Both positions are wrong." He stood and faced them all. "The response fleet is not about humans or any other species. It is about a principle: protecting those who cannot protect themselves. Every decision we make should serve that principle. When pirates are attacking a civilian ship, we do not have time for committee meetings. We act. When there is time for diplomacy, we use it. The situation dictates the response, not our egos." A Therian commander named Vexar spoke up. "Commodore, humans have more experience with combat. Should we not defer to your judgment in those situations?" "Experience matters," Kyle agreed. "But it is not exclusive to humans. Some of you have combat experience from your own militaries. Some have skills we lack. The key is recognizing who has the relevant expertise for each situation and trusting their judgment." A human commander added, "But sir, what about chain of command? Someone has to make the final call." "The captain makes the final call on their own ship," Kyle said firmly. "That has not changed. But good captains listen to their crew. They use every resource available. A mixed crew is a resource. Different perspectives help us see solutions we might miss." Over the following year, the integrated crews learned to work together more smoothly. They developed protocols that recognized each species' strengths. Humans usually led combat operations because of their training and reflexes. Quilnari often coordinated rescue operations because of their patience and careful planning. Therians handled heavy labor and intimidation when dealing with hostile forces. The response fleet became more than just human ships with alien crew members. It became a true coalition where every species contributed equally to the mission of protecting others. Kyle, now promoted again to admiral and overseeing the entire program, watched this evolution with satisfaction. The fleet he had helped create was growing beyond his original vision into something better. One evening,